What's up, gang? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Janique. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Before we get started, if you have not yet already, make sure you lock into my channel by clicking on that subscribe button and also by clicking on the notification bell. That way you don't miss an episode of anything that I do here. If you are a returning subscriber, I appreciate you so much for trusting me with your content and supporting my channel. You have no idea how much it means to me. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about people pleasing. So if you're interested in hearing more about that topic, make sure you stick around to the end of the video. Let's go ahead and hop into it.
Grab the camera, I'll say cheese. What am I supposed to do? When my life look like my pictures do. What? He still ain't posted you. Come let me show you what you supposed to do. Go, bounce up on that dude. Go show these niggas they can't F with you. Look what you made me do. I gotta show you how real I've been loyal to myself. I don't need nobody else.
You know, existing is so interesting because there's a point in your life where you don't know why you're here. You don't know who put you here. You don't know what you came to do, what you should be doing, who you should be around, who you should be with, what action you should be taking. Like, life is just a crazy thing, and to come into knowledge of who you really are is the most enlightening thing here on earth, because it changes the rest of your life. When God gives you purpose, he gives you a reason to wake up every day. He gives you a reason to live. So if you are on the wake up list every day, you have to know there is a purpose for you being here. I notice a lot of people focus on two things. They're either focused on pleasing other people or they're focused on pleasing themselves. But I don't see enough people focus on pleasing God. I think that's what a lot of people are missing from today's society. Like, they don't have a desire to please God. They only have a desire to please others as well as themselves. Now, that can manifest itself in a lot of ways. Now, whether that comes to, you know, staying in relationships that don't serve you, or, you know, self-indulging, abusing other people, abusing yourself. There's a lot of ways that that manifests, but I really need us to kind of refocus and regroup and understand that if we are here, we wake up on a daily basis, we are present, we have vision, God has a purpose for us, and we need to focus on making ourselves useful for him. And we need to focus on making ourselves useful to God. That way we can be here on earth as long as possible. We are all on a time clock. We don't know when our last day is going to be. So what do you want to look back when you meet God and you encounter God? Like, what do you want to look back and have him say about your life? What types of things do you want him to say about you? Who do you want him to describe you as? What acts have you done, you know, that God can look back on and like, you know what, well done, my son. Like, well done, my daughter. Like, what have you done? Ask yourself that. What have you done to please God lately? Do you even wake up with the desire to please God, or are you still waking up with the desire to please man or yourself? What's so interesting about your relationship with God is nobody can ruin that but you. Yeah, a lot of people can distract you, and people can come into your life and allow themselves to be used by the enemy to distract you and things like that. But ultimately, the choice is yours. We all have free will here. That's the great thing about God. He gives us the space to choose him. We don't have to choose him. We could choose another life, but choosing life with him is more beneficial, and it allows you to live longer. How many people do we see die so early? Some people don't make it out of childhood. Some people don't make it out of their teenage years. Some people don't make it out of their adulthood. Some people don't make it to the mid-30s, mid-40s, mid-50s, mid-60s. People don't even live to be 100 anymore because they're not making themselves useful to God. And I know what people are going to say, like, what about the preachers who die early, blah, blah, blah. We all know that God does call people home when it's time for them to come home. Once your work, and did y'all hear that click? When your work here is done, that's when you go home. When God has no more use for you on earth, that's when you will be called home. So take inventory of what you're doing on a daily basis, man. I found myself recently getting so consumed on social media that I'm posting 24/7. I'm like, dang, I'm posting a lot of my thoughts. And I was like, you know what? Let me pull back for a minute and regroup, because it's time for us to get into healthier habits with God. How do we want God to give us our heart's desires when we can't even do something as simple as read the Bible every day? We can't even remember to pray every day. We can't even remember to thank him for something as little as our food, when really that's a big thing. It's a big thing to get fed. Some people don't even eat on a daily basis. Some people have no food to eat. I see people out here on the streets of Houston every day saying that, having signs saying they're hungry, holding signs out in this heat, putting up that they're hungry. They have nowhere to go. You know, they're homeless, you know. So we cannot take anything that God has given us for granted. God is so gracious to us. He allows us to live a good life still, even though we sin, even though we do things to not please him, even though we go against him, even though we don't even acknowledge him in our daily routine. He still allows us to live good lives. You know, he still has not, he doesn't have us out on the street. And you know what's interesting about people who are homeless, and I be thinking this every time I see them, because sometimes they have God bless. Y'all know that, y'all know they're trying to get the money, right? So they put God bless in some, so you know, they put God bless on some of the signs because they're trying to get to that bag. And when people have God bless on there, it really makes me chuckle a little bit, because do you really believe in God if you are homeless? Like, riddle me that. Like, when I think of homelessness, like, to even get myself to the point of being homeless, because it can happen to anybody, right? But it's like, dang, when you reach that point, have you given up? Y'all hear that sound? Have you given up when you reach that point of homelessness? Like, that's what I be thinking. So how can you really believe in God if you give up? My belief in God fuels my fire. It lights my fire every single day. It's the reason I'm so energetic. It's the reason I want to do more. It's the reason I have so many talents and gifts. It's the reason I can get on here and share these things with you guys. Despite what the world deems as having a successful YouTube channel, I still get on here and talk every day, and I don't ask for nothing in return. You understand? I sit right here and I give out whatever knowledge I have to give, whatever I did the Lord puts on my heart, and request nothing in return, because I want to be useful to God. I want to get to heaven. You know, when I die, when that time does come, I want God to say to me, you know, you really tried to help my people, because all it takes is me planting a little seed in the person, whoever comes across the video, and it can change your patterns. You know, not even for a week, not even for a few days, not even for a month or two. It can change your patterns for life just by you planting one seed, because you don't know how many people before you planted a seed as well, and your seed is the one that fertilized the things, or I don't know how seeds work. Your seed is the one to grow, you understand? So yeah, God is good, man. Like, I just be thinking, like, people are so talented. Like, I just watch them every day just do things for man, do things for people. Like, the amount of people we have doing crazy things to go viral, it's alarming. But people don't do things to go viral with God. Why do I see people, you know, walking up to people, threatening them, slapping people, or acting like you gonna beat their butt, or acting like you talking to somebody else just for views, going viral and clicks, and things we do for attention. But when we don't even seek attention from God, that doesn't even make any sense. We give God no attention, but we want attention from everybody else. It doesn't make any sense, you know? One thing I notice is the less I post, the better I feel, because I don't feel like I'm seeking attention. Me posting, and as many people want to say, like, you know, people want to say all the time, them posting is not for attention, it's posting for them. Like, no, you're posting for attention. That's why I can't bring myself to sit right here on Instagram every day and post a bunch of pictures and stuff like that. It's like, because I'm not seeking attention from anybody but God. You know, these videos are based on God. My channel is really here to help you heal your relationship with yourself and God, nothing more, nothing less. You know, I'm not here for the attention. That's not, you know, me getting attention is just an added bonus, but you know, God gives us things based on what we can handle. So I was just thinking about this the other day. People who, and thank you God for even bringing this back to my memory. People who, like, say people who get surgery, right? They'll tell you that they do surgery for themselves, or they weren't happy with something that they saw in a mirror, which is insecure. They weren't happy with something, so they decided to go change it. And even them changing it physically doesn't take away in their mind, like, what you had before the surgery was still there. You remember how you looked before the surgery. No matter who deletes your pictures, where you delete them from, or how many new pictures you take, you cannot take away who you were born as. And I think it's important to recognize before you get surgery, right? Why did God make you the way that you were? Because he knew that you were not going to be able to handle what comes along with what you're asking for, what you're wanting for yourself. So say for instance, me, I never had no body growing up. my body flat. I was flat everything the whole time I was growing up, right? And it humbled me because I didn't have assets to flaunt to men. You know, I wasn't out in the streets. I wasn't having sex early and a lot of other things because I did not have this body, as opposed to little girls who had the body, what they were doing and what kind of attention they were getting at that age, right? You know, after I joined the military and I came home, I remember my sister telling me I got fat, and I'm like, I got fat. But I realized she was hating on me. But to other people who would talk to me like, yo, you have like the nicest body I've ever seen. Eventually I realized I do have a super nice body. And I'm glad it happened the way it did, because if I had had it early on, I would know what to do. I would have been going crazy at a young age because I wasn't used to not having it. You understand? So God blessed me with it when I could handle it. God blessed me with the body that I wanted when I was able to maintain it, when I was able to mentally handle what comes along with it. Because if God had given you the body that I have, then he know you're going to go lay on your back. You feel me? Like, rock with me on this. You get what I'm saying? So God will not give you more than you can handle. So a lot of people don't want to be used by God because they think what comes along with God is not enough for what they want for their life. Not understanding that God will never give you more than you can handle. Yes, you can go out and get surgery to manipulate, you know, your life, because that's essentially that's what surgery is doing. I don't think these girls even realize it. It's manipulating life. Like, you are not meant to look like that. That wasn't your path. You cheated at life because you want more attention. People are not being real with themselves, so they can't be real with us. They don't even understand themselves, so they can't even understand us, right? They don't understand why they do these things. They're going to tell you that they got surgery for themselves when no, you did not. If you did it for yourself, you should love yourself, right? If it's just for you, you should love yourself. It's your body. You're not going to be able to do anything with it to satisfy yourself, right? It's all for other people. So I digress, but I'm saying all this to say, like, stop trying to please other people. Let's work on pleasing God. Let's work on being better people for the Lord. Let's work on furthering the kingdom of God. If we can all get on one accord with that, the world would be a better place if we chase God and not other people. You understand? And this is what a lot of relationships today are missing. I just saw a clip earlier of a celebrity who was talking about her and her husband had threesomes. And I'm just looking like, the stuff we do to keep a man, that's not pleasing to God. God didn't ask you to go in a bedroom to have a threesome. That is pleasing to yourself and others. You understand? Even telling other people, it's all to seek attention. It's all, the rabbit hole goes down so far. But you did it just to be able to tell us. And I don't think people even look at their decisions like this. You had the threesome just to come back and tell us that you had it, because that was your initial thought in the first place. So if I do this, I can tell people that I did it. It's a testimony. You get what I'm saying? Pay attention to the people in your life, man. Are they working to try to please God, or are they working to try to please others? Are they working overtime to try to please the world? Are they breaking their back to please other people? Are they breaking their back to prove something to others? Prove something to yourself. Prove something to God. You understand? What can we do to further the kingdom? That's what we need to be focused on, not other people. I found myself deleting social media this week again. I can't do it right now because I just watch it all day. And the more you watch it, the more you become influenced by it. That's all it is. It's one big rabbit hole. Now I can get on TikTok because I told y'all before, I'm on the woke side of TikTok. But even then, I can't consume too much of that either, because it's not pleasing to God to sit right here and consume all this stuff. You know, when it's teaching you something, yeah, but God really wants you to be with him. Stop being a slave to these social media sites. Stop being a slave to the people in your life, to these women, to these men, to these clubs, to these brunches, to these outings, to these out-of-town visits, to your passport, to the music. I mean, to the clothing, to the brands, to the cars. Like, stop being a slave to your life. Be a slave for God. If you want to be a slave to anything, you hear this silent right here? Like, we need to put God first. That's what I want to regroup this week and put God first in my life. And I challenge you to do the same thing, man. We got to get in our Bibles more. We got to really understand what's going on, because we are going to be outnumbered if we don't get it together spiritually. I don't know about y'all, but I think a lot of people, when they see you alone, because I rock alone, right? People see you alone and they think you don't have anybody, but I have God, and that's all I need. God is a moving force in my life. I watch him move every day for me. He gets me home safely, and people don't even realize the magnitude of making it home safe and sound. People leave their house every day and don't make it back home. Randomly, you never know when your last day is, y'all. Are you right with God? Make yourself useful on earth to God. That way you know he'll keep you here. You don't got to be scared of what's going to happen. You don't got to fear. And I know my computer lighting up, so I know I'm speaking that real. You don't got to fear what's going to happen next. God says in the Bible, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow has enough troubles of its own. Worry about today. Don't worry about what you'll eat. Don't worry about what you'll dress. Don't worry about what you'll wear. Tomorrow will figure itself out. You'll worry about tomorrow. Today, focus on God. If you sit right here focusing on God, you can't worry about nothing else. This is just like the story in the Bible where Joshua, he was standing on the water. And Peter said, God, is that you? If that's you, let me walk out. Let me walk out to you. He was like, come on and walk. And while he was focusing on Joshua, he was walking just fine. But as soon as he started focusing on the wind and focusing on the waves and focusing on the water and stuff like that, then he started sinking. And God said, you know, focus on me. If we stay focused on God, we'll be grounded enough not to sink. We won't drown under our circumstances. We won't drown under the pressures of life. We won't succumb to any of that because we're focused on God. Me, I'm so rooted in my relationship with God. Like anything can happen to me and around me, and I'm still going to focus on it. I don't care what else is happening. Everything else will work itself out because I'm focused on God. I challenge you to do the same thing, man. It's time to get right with God, man. We really got to change this world for the better for the next generation. My son is only 5 right now, but he's growing so fast. He's going to be 20 before I know it. I want to build a better world for him, and I know y'all want to do that for y'all kids as well. We got to change the way that things are going. All it takes is enough black people, and whatever race you are, you can watch this, and it goes for you too, but all it takes is for us to stick together. Believers, just to stick together. I saw a video earlier where a Mexican man was talking about, or I saw a video earlier where a Hispanic man was talking about the reason that his people win when they come over here to America. And I noticed that they win because I see here in Houston, there's so many Hispanic businesses. There's so many Asian, Vietnamese businesses. So many of them. I'm like, how do they come over here and get these businesses? And we were born here and we have nothing. We have nothing but fits, clothing, jewelry. We have nothing but that. How do they come over and get these businesses? And he explained it to me in that video. They stick together. He said no matter what business that they open, it's going to be successful because he's not by himself with it. The whole family is working towards one goal. They stick together. And it's something that we are not, and that's something that's not instilled in us as Americans. You know, it's not something that's instilled in us because we haven't even started our foundation off with the truth. First of all, we are not African Americans. We were born in America. We are from America. This is our land originally, and they came and took it from us. So until we get the truth out of these people, until we get the truth out of these people, until the truth is brought forth, we need to be serving God, okay? We need to be focusing on God. That's who our focus should be on an everyday basis. And anybody that's around you that's not focused on God as well, they got to get from around you. Y'all are unequally yoked. How much more time can we waste on people who don't believe? Brings me to a story where a guy, he's converted over to Muslim, but at this time he was practicing Christianity. But he was trying to convince his family members like God is real, you know, to focus on God and stuff. And they're not into it at all. And he said it's draining for him. And I asked him, why don't you separate yourself? And he said, I can't do it. My job here is to save my family. I said, if that's what God has put on you, allow him to put that on you. But the book I read told me, leave your father's house. That's what the book I read said, leave your father's house. The book I read, people were successful when they left their family. Moses left his family. He was sent up the Nile. Joseph sold into slavery. Abraham had to leave his father's house. Well, Jacob had to leave because he stole Esau's blessing. It's like all these stories in the Bible are symbolic to you having to separate yourself from your family. God says he came to separate mother from daughter, brother against sister. You understand? Wife against husband. He came to separate the people because his people need to be with his people. And I'm not talking about under no church roof. I'm talking about in real life, real communities full of believers. That's what I want the world to come to. So I hope you took something from my message today. If you did, make sure you check out some of my other messages, and I will see you in the next video. I pray that you repair your relationship with God, because it needs to be done before you don't have the opportunity to even do it. Okay? I'll see you in the next video. Peace.